السلام عليكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على خير معلم الناس الخير محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم. Today, inshallah, we're going right away into our today's class, which is going to be the basic or the first simple lesson talking about this book from this book that I do prefer, the book that names Al-Arabiya Bayna Yadayk, Arabic between your hands. Let's get right away into the first unit that talks about At-Tahiyya wa Ta'aruf. Let's open this file right now and let's get to see what we have. Here, as you can see, this is the first conversation and part A or part Alif. Inshallah, with time, we will learn that anything you could see in the page you can recognize and you can use it in different contexts. So we will not leave a word that you actually don't know the meaning of it, inshallah. So what is everything we're having here in this page? Let's see. First of all, here we have the word al-wahda, which means the unit one. And then we have the word at-tahiyya, the greeting, wa, and at-ta'aruf, acquaintance or the acquaintance. Ad-darsu wahid, which means lesson one. Here, as you can see, this is al-hiwar al-awwal, the conversation, the first, and that's a thing we want to learn later on, that when we describe anything in Arabic, we put it after the thing that you describe. So we don't in Arabic say the conversation or the first conversation. We just say the conversation, the first, and then three verbs that you could see every single lesson, every single hiwar conversation, which are from the pictures you can recognize انظر واستمع وأعد. From what I'm doing, you can understand what does it mean. انظر, look. استمع, listen. أعد, repeat. And that's what we will do. Right now, the track we would use is that I'm going to practice and read the conversation in front of you and repeating it again one more time, and later on we will explain every single word. No word in any page that we will not be knowing its meaning. So this is conversation between two people. First person is named Khalid, second person is named Khalil. Khalid says, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. اسمي خالد. ما اسمك؟ اسمي خليل. كيف حالك؟ بخير والحمد لله. وكيف حالك أنت؟ بخير والحمد لله. One more time. There might be words that you are familiar with. Let's get to know them. One more time. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. اسمي خالد. ما اسمك؟ اسمي خليل. كيف حالك؟ بخير والحمد لله. وكيف حالك أنت؟ بخير والحمد لله. The very basic greeting in Arabic is, as we know, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. And the response to that we use is Wa alaikum assalam. Let's notice that Assalam means the peace, is alaykum, is upon you all. And the response, we do the same, but just flipped. Wa and alaykum, upon you all, assalam, the peace. So peace be upon you, and upon you the peace as a response. Okay, now let's get to know the important things. Khalid says, Ismi Khalid. ما اسمك? Maybe you can recognize he means Ismi Khalid. My name is Khalid. And he then started to ask, the question that would come to your mind, how to ask that. What's your name? مسمك. He responds in the very same way. اسمي خليل. So maybe now you can recognize the word ism repeated 3 times in 2 different ways. One way is ismi, another way is ismuka. Notice ism itself is a word that means name. Ism means name. So when I add to that word e, I make it mine, saying my name is Khalid. My name is Khalil. For me, Ismi Muhammad. For you, you would say Ismi Omar. As a woman, you could say Ismi Maryam, and so on. And then how to ask about what is your name. Now, if you want to ask someone about his name, you would start with the word what. So when we say ma ismuka, here we say what is. In Arabic, that's a common rule. In Arabic, we don't use verb to be. I don't say my name is Muhammad. I say my name Muhammad. Ma ismuka, what your name. So now we notice that ka means your name for the listener. Meaning, if you're talking to a woman, this ka would be different, and we will learn that in minutes. Just wait. Okay, and then Khalid started to ask a new question. كيف حالك? كيف حالك? Khalid responds by saying بخير والحمد لله. And then he repeats the same question. وكيف حالك أنت؟ بخير والحمد لله. We know that alhamdulillah is a very common thing that you would hear in every Arab country, and you would see people saying that a lot, and it means praise is for God. The praise is, which we don't say, verb to be, we don't say. For is le. Le is a letter, it's one letter, but it means for. Praise is for God. And then كيف حالك? كيف means how. So now let's think. I want to say how are you? Would I say كيف and then I would use verb to be? No, there is no verb to be. We agree to that. So كيف حالك? كيف حالك? How is حالك? Do you remember when we said your is ka? Now it's repeated. Why is that? Because حالك, حال, the word حال itself means, let's say, status. So when I say كيف حالك, I'm saying something like, how is your status? How is your condition? Some sort of that. So he's asking, how is silent, we don't say it. حالك, your حال, your status. Khalil responds, بخير. بخير. Be is one of the magicians or magic letters. It could have so many meanings, but one of them that I would want you to know, which is be, means in. Be means in. So when you say بخير, that's some sort of in خير, in goodness. So خير means goodness. So when you hear someone is having a good news or even bad news, you would say خيرا خيرا, good, good, inshallah, inshallah, hopefully, inshallah, this is goodness. So when you're asking someone كيف حالك, you would normally say بخير. and then he added by the help of the letter wa, which we agreed it means and then Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Thank or praise, or that praise is for Allah. So le, Allah, when we write it, it becomes to be lillah. And I usually like to make it like the name of Allah is like this. If I want to make it lillah, I would make it like that. Even it looks like we added a letter, le Allah, added a letter to the name of Allah. Now it actually became lis letters, lillah. Okay, of course we would like to add a shadda over here to show the difference. Anyway, so one more time, كيف حالك؟ بخير والحمد لله. And then he asks, وكيف حالك أنت؟ and we agreed it means and. كيف we agreed it means how. حالك your status or how are you. And then we added أنت. This is like in English when someone is asking you, how are you? I'm fine. And you, even sometimes they write it like in capital letters. So وكيف حالك أنت. If you just replied with كيف حالك, that would be fine. If you added وكيف حالك أنت, you're specifying. That usually happens when you have more than one person speaking to you, so you're specifying the response or the question to one specific person. Anyway, his response was بخير والحمد لله. بخير والحمد لله. Now, we will have a feminine version of this conversation, this same conversation, and we will see. This is the other conversation. The words are still the same. الوحدة, التحية, التعارف, الدرس الأول, الحوار الأول, still, but that's B, ba. And then انظر, واستمع, وأعد. Same conversation. Let's hear and then listen and repeat. Let's look and listen and repeat. هذا حوار. This is حوار بين خولة وخديجة. خولة تسأل وتقول السلام عليكم. خديجة وعليكم السلام. اسمي خولة. ما اسمك؟ اسمي خديجة. كيف حالك؟ بخير والحمد لله. وكيف حالك أنت؟ بخير والحمد لله. Now, did you notice the difference? Minor differences, but very, very, very important. Assalamu alaikum didn't change. Wa alaykum assalam didn't change. Khawla is introducing herself by using the same thing, as you can see. Ismi Khawla. My name is, which we don't use, Khawla. And then Khadija have the same thing. Ismi is, no verb to be, Khadija. Notice the difference. We used to know that ma, the question word we know from here, is ma, which means what. And then we have ism, which we know means name. But now it's not my name, not your name for a singular masculine pronoun, but it is for a singular feminine pronoun. So we used to have it masmuka. This time it's masmuki. So if I told you now that the word kitab means book, and I want you to say my book, how would you say that? You would say kitabi, like ismi. And then how would you say your book if you're saying that to me? You would say kitabuka, kitabuka. Now you're talking to a girl next to you and she's saying, or you want to tell her like your book, you would say actually kitabuki. Alright? So Masmuka, what's your name to a man? Masmuki, what's your name to a woman? So she responds, Ismi Khadija. Ismi doesn't change. You're a man, you're a woman. Just like English, my name is always my name. If a woman is speaking, if a man is speaking, it's always the same. Now we repeat the same idea. Now we have the sense of that. So she's asking, how are you? Then she says, كيف حالك? كيف حالك? We used to have it like كيف حالك? Now it is حالك. Then they respond in the very same way. بخير, in goodness, and Alhamdulillah, praise is for God. Le Allah. وكيف حالك? Now we have all of them together. أنت. So we used to have أنت for a man, now it's أنت, which means you, but this time it's feminine. وكيف حالك أنت. So let's combine all the words that we have seen from the two conversations. First of all, we need to remember Assalamu alaikum. The response for it is Wa alaikum assalam. Other words that we have learned is the word. Let's have it in specific color, like blue, for example. Or let's get green. Green is a good one. Ism. That means name. We made it to be Ismi, Ismuka, Ismuki. We got people's names like Khawla, Khadija. We got the word Hal, which means status, condition. We got the word Khair, which means good or goodness. We got the word Hal, again, status. Again, Khair, and then Alhamd, the praise, and of course the name of Allah. Also, we got some connected pronouns like, let's have this in different color, like this one. Ismi. So the E means my. Ismuki means your for feminine. We've learned before Ismuka. That's another pronoun. Ka, your, and so on. Also, we have the pronoun, that disconnected pronoun, like anti, we had also before anta. So these are the nouns. There is also wa, which means and. We have also el, which means the. Connect any word with el and it would be a definite word, just like magic. And then final thing, two question words like ma and kaifa. All right, that's everything we need to remember from these two conversations. They are literally or actually the same, but minor differences are important to notice between them. Okay, let's get to see everything. So here we have al-mufradat, the words, and let's see them. This guy is asking this guy, كيف حالك? Remember, it means, how are you? But we would say it for a man. Even a woman asking a man, she would say that. It doesn't have to be between two men or two women. It could be between a man and a woman to a man, and so on. But if you're going to ask this question to a woman, it would be كيف حالك. Remember the two pronouns أنت وأنتِ. The connected version of these pronouns are ka, أنت, ki, أنتِ. The other and final expression we learned here was مسموك if masculine, or مسموكِ if you're asking a woman. So what is a question word? Ism is name, ka, your name. Remember, there is no verb to be that we use. Here is a summary of everything we have learned, but in detailed way. And I like to use this one for you to remember if these words have in plurals. That's something important to know. In Arabic, it's not like English. You would just add an S or ES to the word and it becomes plural, just like magic. In Arabic, the words have actually patterns. Let's say it's not always dars becomes durus, wahda, wuhud, tahiyya, tuhud. It's never like that. Wahda, for example, which we learned before, it means unit. Dars, which we learned before, it means listen. Each one has a different plural. So from time to time, it's important to know the plural of each word, and with time you will get the sense of that. So that's a thing I started to put in here to get to know. After each lesson, there will be words like these. We will get to know the new nouns, the new verbs, and the new expressions. And what I would ask you, after we put the new word here, it's plural here. These are the information I would provide if there is a plural we could have, like the word wa, and it doesn't have a plural, of course. And then your homework is to put these into a basic sentence, a very basic sentence. For example, we will know that with time, but here we would put here the sentence like, this is a unit. هذه وحدة. I didn't say this is, there is no verb to be. This unit. هذه وحدة. This is a unit, and so on. So this is the meaning of the word unit. Here al-muradif means an equivalent word in Arabic to that word. If there is a word that has an equivalent, like two words having the same meaning, we would write it in here. When we have a word like that, but later on we will add this, but that field would be important. So that would be very helpful to take a look at after we finish each conversation. Let's take a look at the words that we had before. وحدة, unit. Dars, it's a lesson. Plural of them are wahadat and durus. What we would do now is that we would read these words, the new words, and we would actually add to them their meaning, and I would leave this for you to write down, and I might put that in the description video, the meaning of each one of those. For example, tahiyya, tahiyyat, that means greeting. Ta'aruf, ta'arufat. Notice the pattern. We added at in the end. Ta'arufat, acquaintance. Hiwar, hiwarat, conversation. Awwal, first. Awail. Ism, asma, name. We knew that word. Ma is what. That's the first question word we have learned when we said masmuka. So a sentence you would do here is masmuka. Kaifa means how, and it becomes to be kaifa haluka as a sentence. The word hal, which means condition or status, plural is ahwal. Wa means and. Bikhair altogether means in goodness, like I am good, but the ba alone, the letter ba, could have many meanings, but it means in. Sometimes it means by, sometimes means many other things. Khair itself, as we learned, it means good. Bikhair together, saying something like I'm good. Alhamd is the praise, so the word is hamd, praise. Le means for. Allah, of course, is the name of Allah, the God. So when we have Alhamdulillah, praises to God. And then we have the two pronouns, the disconnected pronouns, anta wa anti. If you remember, there was the two connected pronouns like ka and ki related to anta and anti. All I need from you is to write down the meanings in here after I send you all of these. Inshallah, put all of these in the description in the video down there. And of course, studying them. If there is a plural, I added all the plurals, but if you could make a sentence, put it in here, that would be a good task. And I would even put my email. So if you want to connect with me and send me the answers of this homework and I will check it with you, that would be fine, inshallah. And let's see. These are the expressions we have went over, like assalamu alaikum, the response is wa alaikum assalam. You could ask for masmuka or masmuki. The response is ismi, my name is, but we don't say verb to be. Kayfa haluka, as you could see, it means how are you? And the response to that is bikhair or alhamdulillah or both together. Here are the three verbs that we have seen in this form. انظر, واستمع, وأعد. Look, listen, and repeat. I put them in different tenses. It's put in the imperative tense. Yes, imperative is a tense in Arabic. And there is past, present, imperative. And there is also masdar, which is something we call verbal noun. Anyway, we could also put these in a sentence. Later on, we can easily fill all of these, but that's important to know. Inshallah, the next time, it would be much shorter videos, so we could go over all the units, inshallah. The next conversation would be talking about when you ask someone where you're from, are you in this nationality, what's your nationality, nice to meet you, and so on. Let's have this for the next time. Thank you so much. Wait for the next video very soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.